Hey, it's Craig Conover from Bravo TV's Southern Charm. I'm on Hollywood Raw podcast. Listen this week to hear all about my issues with Adderal, Charleston gossip and drama, my new book, Pillow Talk, and this upcoming season of Southern Charm. Maybe if I helped a certain marriage, maybe, get together finally. All that and more this week on Hollywood Raw.
Hey guys, welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page. Make sure you drop a comment, like, subscribe.
Do all the fun things.
Follow
everything. We're here to entertain you guys.
What are you waiting for? Hurry up. Let's go.
Enjoy.
Craig, thank you for doing the podcast. I'm a fan. I am a huge Bravo, but I'm a fan of you. I think the way you've handled yourself on TV and with the media, because you're always in the news in a good way. You know, obviously in the past, you've been on reality TV for more than a decade. So I want to start this interview with the most important question. And the first question, I want to get right into it. Did you go to your high school reunion?
Dude, this is a funny story. That is what has driven me for the last 10 years. Like since I graduated high school, everything that I did was leading up to showing up to that 10-year reunion. And because I was still in my toxic relationship that you guys got to see on TV, we were not able to go, and I will never forget that. And so
there's always going to be 15 and 20. Have no fear, bud.
And so I at least, got to do, like the night before Thanksgiving or like Christmas Day, I did get to do the local bars. First and second season of the TV show. So I still got to show back up to town being on TV. But Madison was actually at my 10-year reunion because she was dating my best friend at the time, and I didn't get to go. So Madison was there and I wasn't there.
It's so funny because I feel like part of it, and at least for me, and it's got to be with you or some people, that you want to go back to that reunion and show what you've done, in 10 years. So does high school drive you a little bit because you just want to show face to the people you grew up with, like, hey, look what I'm doing? I mean, not saying you're an ego guy, but there is a little ego element to it to just prove to people that you've done some cool stuff with your life.
I mean, that I wrote about it in the book too, which is when I was signing my contract for Southern Charm, almost 10 years ago. This is how crazy like bullying is, that it sticks with people so long that when I was signing my contract, I was thinking about those guys from high school, and that I hoped that there was a TV in their jail cell so that one day they could look up at their TV in jail that they probably all are in and see me on TV. And I was like, it is crazy that it kind of like lasts with you, but it's also why I'm able to deal with the crazy shit that comes with this. Because nothing like any hater on the internet, like no one can come close to what they did, to me growing up. I mean, not to be dramatic, I'm just saying, like, if you survive middle school and high school and you self-validate back then, it really prepares you for reality TV. Whereas like some other people that I've worked with, they were never bullied growing up. They were the cool kids, so they don't know how to handle it as well.
And how often are people hitting you up from high school? Because I get that in my, like, on Facebook or something. Someone who was a total dickhead to me back in high school, suddenly they're friending me on Facebook. I'm like, whoa. We weren't friends. Last time I checked, we weren't friends. So are you getting that yourself?
Not as much as you would think. I think it's almost like, I don't know, is humble pie a word? Or maybe they don't even, no, they don't, because those guys, the people that have hit me up were the ones that were nice to me. So that's cool. And like, I love going back home, and we have a local grocery store called Hawkers. It's actually like Paige's favorite grocery store in the world. And it's so just like country, and like it's very I don't know what the appropriate words are anymore, but we live around a bunch of farms and a bunch of people like to hunt, and if you get the saying, but there's just a local grocery store. But anyway, I run into a lot of people from high school there, and I love seeing them. I think because I moved away, I mean, I'm 10-hour drive from home. I'm 600 miles. So I think if I was in the area, it might happen a little more, but I think I just feel out of reach.
How many kids did you how many people were in your graduating class in high school?
like 200. Yeah, like 200.
And were you a cool kid, or were you? What was your vibe like?
So the
How would you?
bullies
Yeah.
were 2 years ahead of me, or in 2 or 3 years ahead of me. So as soon as they left, like as soon as 11th and 12th grade happened, that was when I was like, I started to feel cool and find myself. Cause like my grade was nice and the grade above me was nice, but it was the guys older than that. So 11th and 12th grade, I started to find myself, but it wasn't until I left for college. And I remember the feeling like the first day I got to college at Charleston, people just looked at me different. And I just decided that I was cool. And I had never realized that you're actually the person that decides if you're cool or not. No one else. There's not like a board out there being like, that guy's cool now, that guy. Like the cool kids in high school, they just came to school and were like, no, I'm the cool guy. And it's kind of a weird thing to realize one day.
Totally get it.
100%. Like if you could tell kids right now in high school, I'd be like, just have confidence. That's all it is. It's the confident kids are the cool kids in high school. And if you want to be the cool kid, just have confidence.
Yeah. And it's something, and it's tough. Like I tell kids that come in the store a lot, especially that are in like 7th grade or 8th grade. I had a girl that came in the other day and she was quiet and I was like, what grade are you in? She's like going into 8th. And I was like, it's better than 7th. And I could instantly tell on her face that like I connected with her because she, and then her mom was like, yeah, 7th grade wasn't that easy. And I was like, look, it's not for anyone, but I hope to be able to communicate with, more and more kids about that stuff because it can be a cruel place.
Yeah. So Charleston, I've been to Charleston. Dax, have you been to Charleston at all?
No, I have never been to Charleston.
Beautiful place. Very cool. A lot of bachelorette parties are happening there now. It's a very cool place, but not a big town. It's not a big place. So when you're in Charleston, do you, like you and the cast, are you guys are the stars of Charleston? Is it kind of wild now because you're a star of a hometown, like a small town?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird feeling because the locals don't care, right? They've been around, they don't care, but we have such a tourist population. And now, we're on the scavenger hunt and Southern Charm has really driven a lot of tourism here. It was funny because they didn't admit that for a long time and now they can't help but do it. And so when people are coming to town to spot you, they can't help but kind of freak out when they see you. And now we have the store on King Street. And so it's, I love it. Like I cater to it. I accommodate to it. But yeah, I mean, it's a weird feeling, I mean, I don't think you can ever really describe it. I would say that it's something that in college, I was never going to move to LA to become famous, but I would be lying if I said I didn't fantasize about it, And so when all of this happened, it's just one of those things that like you can't not want it until you've experienced it. Not that I don't want it because I love it, but it's like I don't know how real famous people like A-list people survive because it kind of turns you into what's it called? I used to be an extrovert. Like I wore blazers and neon V-necks like before the show started. Like I wanted all the attention in the room. Like I was that guy at the bar. And now you become like a little more introverted, but it's just weird. It's hard to explain.
How is the store doing? Like obviously being on a tourist destination, is the store just booming now?
Yeah, and we got real lucky because I attribute it to like COVID tourism because Charleston just didn't have any rules. Like we opened up real quick. And so everyone from like, the north and stuff were just coming down and we were like, hey, we don't make the rules, but we do have a store here. So we had a huge summer last summer. The holidays were really fun. Like I love it. We're doing Christmas in July right now. So my employees sometimes hate me because they enjoy it, but the store is decorated like Christmas right now. Christmas is blasting. And we've got the 12 days of Christmas and we have like mimosas in there and we've got beer on tap and, it's a lot of fun. And I wanted it to feel like a surf shop. Like when you walk in, it smells good. You kind of just like are happy to be there. So, yeah, I mean, it's going really well. I love every Saturday I'm in town, we do like meet and greets and it's really fun.
Awesome. The store is cool. Like the clothes are actually, it's good style. Like it's cool. It's fun. It's very, and it's Charleston. It's like the clothes that you want to wear in Charleston, but it's like I like the prints. It's good stuff. Is that where you see your future? Like, did you see yourself getting into like the clothing stuff? Because I know you went to school to be a lawyer, and now you kind of changed paths a little bit. But where do you see this going? Is this going to be a chain all over, or is this going to be e-commerce, or where do you see this?
I mean, my goal has always to be in like the next Williams Sonoma. Like, I want to be a home store. I love to cook. And, I know that there's a lot that I need to do before I can get into cookware. I mean, we have soft cooking goods now, like aprons and oven mitts, but I'd love to write a cookbook. And that was kind of like what I thought I wanted to do before writing Pillow Talk. Like, I wanted to do a cookbook. And now, that's on the docket in a couple of years, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, when I first started to sew, I wanted to make clothes, but I didn't realize that you can't just start making clothes. Like, it's pretty difficult. And I was never trained to do that. And so I went in this direction. And, look, there's a company that I always wanted to start, was called Flawed. And it was about embracing your flaws, and that like your flaws are actually what makes you cool in life. People just don't realize it, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. And I wanted it to be kind of eccentric based, like, buttons were the wrong color or something like that. So I definitely have these goals. But I think like we're about to go into sleeping pillows. So we're about to start making sleeping pillows and bedroom sets. So we're about to start making duvets and sheet sets, and we're going to take over your bedroom next. And then maybe your bathroom, and then maybe your kitchen. So that's kind of the pathway. We just hit Home Goods a couple of days ago, it sounds incredible to say. It's now.
Insane.
My mom, I think, was the happiest person about that. But,
I'm pretty sure we'll be sleeping on you soon, because my wife shops at Home Goods almost every day. So that's awesome. No, speaking of clothes, how often are you buying new clothes? Because I feel like there's a lot of pressure with people that are on reality shows to step it up, look good, especially in Charleston. Like, what kind of, are you buying stuff all the time? Are people gifting it to you? Like, what's your clothing deal?
That's a great question, because it's pretty insane. And it's only increased for me now that I'm dating like a fashion girl, or that's in that world, because I had never felt pressure with what I was wearing, up until a couple years ago, because it was easy. Like, guys kind of have it easy. And like, I would always do something a little different. But, and then I was in bright colors a lot because of Charleston, and now it's, black and white. But yeah. And then it's also one of those things, once you get to the point where you can afford the things you want, they start to give them to you. It's really a backwards thing. But no, I spend so much money at Zara, and like, now I have like, a stylist. I use Paige's stylist in New York, like Alex and Danielle. And it's just part of the job now, because I've realized as the scale gets bigger, we got to go to the MTV Awards this year. Paige was presenting. I was on the carpet. Like, you do want to look your best, and you don't have to spend a gazillion dollars. The clothes just have to fit right. But yes, it has become I just had a tailor come to my house the other day, and I spent a bunch of money on like new dress shirts, because my size has changed a lot since I stopped taking Adderal. Part of that is gaining a little bit of weight. But yeah, I mean, the clothes thing, it's an aspect that is only increasing now.
Do you like set aside a budget though? Like, I'm going to spend this much this year because I know I've got all these events coming up, or is it just like, fuck it, whatever I want to buy?
Yeah, I wish I did the budget thing, but instead, like if I'm going up for Watch What Happens, I'm just like, I need to get the clothes that are going to make me look cool. Like, I want to look good on stage. A lot of times, I mean, this last time I was on Watch What Happens, I just went down to the Macy's in New York, which it's hilarious how much shopping I've done in Times Square. I'm such a tourist, but they had a bunch of suits for 60% off. So like, I got 3 for $500, and they fit well. And, no one ever knows the difference. Like, the jacket I wore at Saratoga last week, I was complimented on almost by everyone that came up to me, and it was like $90 at Macy's.
I love when people are like, admit I like a bargain. Like, we had Jody Sweeten. She was like, fuck yeah, I use coupons. I go and I use coupons just like everyone else. Like, just because I've been on TV my whole life, that doesn't change shit. I like a bargain. I like a deal.
That is one thing I won't spend. Like, I won't spend like enormous amount of money on clothes. Like, I know, like, I can get a pair of white pants for a certain price in Charleston, or like white AGs, and like like they're like $140, which is crazy to spend on pants. I try to stay humble, but like, there's some white pants out there that are like $400. I'm like, no, they're the exact same as the other white pants I can buy.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Dax. I ran into Craig recently outside NBC. I think you just did New York Live, and it was my first time seeing you in person. And you're a big guy. You're a good-looking dude. You're a big guy. You're a handsome guy. You got great hair. You got good thick hair.
God, like, Adam, just ask him out. Jesus.
I would, but he's taken, buddy. But here's the thing. Did your dad? Did they all have good hair? Like, did they lose their hair? Or are you doing products, or what you do for your hairline?
Yeah, that was my first experience like that, and you were my first. You were my first.
Good, good.
And it was so funny. I happened to be with my publicist Charlie at the time, and yeah, that was great. I was hoping to see you the other day. Me and Shep were walking out, and I wanted him to experience that. But
actually, I was almost gonna go. I had the tip, and I was gonna go, but I was like, I didn't want to overdo it.
No,
I let you.
So, look, actually, my dad and my grandfather's 84 and he's got a full head of like beautiful white hair. And my dad has his hair too. I think we go white kind of early, like not gray. We just go white. But yeah, I've just been blessed with good hair, but we were just watching home videos and I mean, I had the worst haircut as a little kid. And I was like a 4-year-old and it looked like a mushroom on top of my head. And then it grew into a bowl. And every time I just look at my mom and I'm like, Mom, what were you doing? And she's like,
that was everyone, dude.
Yeah. She's like, look, we didn't have a lot of money back then. And like that's what everyone did, Craig. And so I think part of my hair kind of passion now comes from the fact that I had a bowl cut.
Oh, Craig, I had a bowl cut plus a rat tail. So I'll up you a rat tail because that shit looks really good in childhood photos.
That wins.
Who was the biggest celebrity in your DMs? The one like who was a fan of the show, like, or just like had a question for you, or even was trying to get your attention. What was the one they're like, dude, this is pretty cool. Like I'm in the game.
There's been a couple, like the biggest one I can't ever, Andy asked me that on Watch What Happens. And I was like, I'm going to have to drink on that one. So I'm pretty open book, but some of the DMs I can't answer. But I will tell you that the first in-person one was Danny McBride. Do you guys know Danny?
Great guy. Super nice. The nicest dude.
He is. And so he moved to Charleston. He does all of his productions here now. And he came up to me and Cameron once at a Halloween party. And that was the first person that I'd ever been starstruck with, where I was just like, he was like, so tell me what's going on with the show. And then we were like, what the fuck? we're in like 70% of our favorite like movies. Like what the fuck's going on? And so we just went to his 4th of July party 2 weeks ago. And like Adam Devine was there. And it was just like those guys, now the local ones in Charleston are the ones that really, like every time you see Danny, you're going to have the same reaction, or anytime you hear him laugh, you're just like, how the heck is, this guy, my buddy now.
The nicest dude. He's just like, I don't know. He's just a great guy. He's cool. He's nice. He's humble. And like, it sounds weird because for my position, for my job, I see a lot of celebrities, but when you see him, there's some sort of awe of it. Cause he looks just like he does on TV. Yeah. There's some sort of like, I saw Mark Wahlberg today, and
he like sounds like him. Yeah, you're not disappointed. That's the thing. He's one that you're not disappointed when you meet in person.
Yeah.
I want to know, how was your family when you first got on reality television? Were they excited? Were they like, oh God? Like, I think about some of the things that come up on reality TV, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd want my family seeing this moment of my life. Everyone else fine, but like my mom seeing a moment like that, like how has that been for you?
Yeah, I mean, look, they were nervous only because I was in the middle of law. Like I was in the middle of doing something. And what was important to them is that I just finished it. I don't think they really had any idea what it was, like when I was doing it. And, my dad and my mom, they say the same thing every time because I'm just like cut from a different cloth from them. And they're like, look, we trust you. We trust that you've done enough decision, processing that you're going to do this. And just don't be an idiot. And obviously that comes with the territory, you are an idiot. My mom stopped watching a couple years ago, thankfully. which is so wild. So she stopped watching, like, kind of when my relationship started to go south. She couldn't watch that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then Winter House comes out, and I find out she's watching, where in my head I was like, I didn't think I had to tell you not to watch stuff anymore. And she loved it. Like, she absolutely loved watching Winter House 1 because she said she just had fun watching us have fun. And I thought it was adorable. I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. And
But do you then start going through your Rolodex of memories and go, oh God, what did I do? What did I do there?
yes, definitely. I just tell myself they don't watch. But they do. I don't know. I think my dad does, but he knows I like to hear that he doesn't. But my grandfather's the funniest one because he gets real into it, and he just, all he's ever watched are Westerns. And now he's like into the Bravo world. And, you know, sometimes I have to be like, Dad, I need you to tell Granddad that what he's about to see isn't the full story. Okay. I got to give him some context. But yeah, I mean, look, it would be a lot easier if no one that you knew watched. But as long as they're not getting worked up about it, then it's okay.
What do you watch the show, or are you like one of those guys that gets weird about watching yourself?
Yeah, look, I've learned that it sounds negative when I say this, so I've tried to come up with a softer way to say it, but no, like I don't. And I'm mentally just healthier and happier for that. What I think I'll be able to do this year is a couple weeks later watch the episodes that already aired, because then if you're watching like 4 weeks later, there's nothing you can do about it, right? The news cycle has changed. There's no one to yell at. Like, it's weird. Like, what happened was, there's been 2 times in my life, like, one, dating on TV makes it difficult. Watching yourself single on TV, there's nothing, like, who cares? Like, who's going to get mad at you? But watching yourself date on TV can be a little tougher. And then I used to read stuff online.
Ooh, bad choice.
Yep. And so when Paige and I started dating, I got upset about something, and I had to look myself in the mirror and be like, Craig, if you can't handle reading stuff, then you have to make the decision not to. And so I'm just better off not knowing. But it sounds weird because I heard it played back one time and I was like, no, I don't watch it. I was like, I'm not trying to say like I'm too cool for it. I just mentally can't handle it. Like, I get too worked up watching sometimes. I don't know. And does that make sense? Like, it
totally get it.
I hate watching myself.
Yeah. And someone actually told me that the other day. They were like, look, a lot of people don't even like hearing their voices on the phone. They were like, of course, watching yourself back is going to be, you know, kind of weird. So I'll show up, I'll show up and be crazy Craig, but I don't need to watch it back,
And how often do you run into Cameron?
Not as much as I'd like. She's she loves being at home and being with her child and her husband. And, I think filming was a good way, it was a good excuse for her to get out a little more, because we were brought together in a more structured way. But we talk a lot. We just don't get to see each other as much as we'd like to.
Did you see her giving you credit for Ben and J-Lo's wedding?
Yeah.
What do you think about that whole thing? Like, do you feel like you have any hand in that and they should be thanking you? Because the internet is going wild right now, being like, everyone, well, they in particular, should be thanking Craig.
Yeah, I feel weird about it. I always have, because I remember that day I was like very careful not to say a name, but obviously, it was going to come out. Yeah, I feel weird because I don't know him, I was like, oh shit. Like, I kind of like had a, I think I had more to do with it than I wanted to.
But really, because of those comments, J-Lo and A-Rod split. She rekindles her love with Ben Affleck after 20 years. They walk down the aisle this weekend in Vegas, and it's because of you. It's because of you at the end of the day.
I mean, if it made a lot of people happy, and they seem happy now, so if I could bring someone to the right person, then that's great. But God, Madison and I just watched that back together. They filmed it. You can watch it online, and that's the first time I ever saw it. And it was pretty funny, actually. I mean, we got drunk together and watched me scream and make an out of myself.
That's so awesome. Good. How does Austin do down in Charleston? Does he like clean up with women down there, or what's his deal?
He's real secretive about his love life. At least with me. I think after like the Madison stuff, I think he accepted that I didn't want to hear about it anymore. But girls like him a lot. I just like, fortunately, he doesn't tell me anymore.
Fortunately. Yeah.
He's, yeah, I mean, he definitely, there's different types of people. And, oh, geez. You should have interviewed me at night after drinking. But yeah, he does. He does well for himself.
I gotta imagine with all these bachelorette parties.
Like that's the thing. He still lives downtown, and you gotta like that's a move. Shep had to leave downtown. I had to leave downtown, but he's still a golf cart away from any bar he wants to go to.
So, at what point did your relationship with Paige turn? Like, when did it click, and you were like, all right, this is something different?
We were long distance. We didn't want to rush into that. I was getting out of a toxic, like almost year relationship. I needed to be single for a little while. And, people forget that like, New York and Charleston isn't an easy thing to do if you don't want to date that, like if that's not your person. Now it's easy because, it's our person. So basically I needed to be single for a little bit. And then one weekend I just woke up and I was like, I don't want to be with anyone else. I don't want to hook up with anyone else. There's no one else out there for me. Like Paige is my person. And I like that because it wasn't like, Paige, I don't want you hooking up with anyone else, or I don't want you going on dates. It was that I truly just had zero interest in seeing anyone else again, or anyone new. And so I texted Paige that, and Paige was like, I don't want to be with anyone else either. And, it just happened organically. It was about 3 months in, which, I think is healthy. I honestly don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do know that if we would have gone longer than that, we would have screwed ourselves. Like there's only so long you can go without becoming exclusive, but I think we did it right. But no, if we wouldn't have, committed to each other when we did, then feelings would have probably started to get hurt. But
obviously before you were with her, she was with Andrea on Summer House, and now he's no longer on the show. Does part of you feel happy or feel just more comfortable knowing that this season of Summer House that he's not there, so you have really not that part to worry about?
No, I mean, I love Andrea. Andrea and I actually had a really deep friendship on Winter House that they cut out. Me and Austin started a fraternity and rushed Andrea into it. He was a pledge and he had like like a hell week in a day, and he had an initiation. I mean, it was the best freaking television ever. And the fact that they cut that out is insanity to me. And it would have played into what ended up happening on Summer House. But why I'm happy for Andrea is he was the only one that knew there was problems in my relationship. And I was the only one that knew he was in love with this other girl. And that's the girl that he's with now. So I'm happy for him. I mean, you got to be adults about stuff. Of course it gets a little, did I watch? No, I don't want to see Paige making out with like another guy, but, no, I mean, I like Andre. He's going to be at BravoCon, and, I'm happy for him. And, you got to trust your partner. You can't be with someone that you would be worried that, they would do something. Then you're probably not with the right person. But I understand where the question's coming from.
Yeah.
So what was your first, like, official first date with Paige? Where did that go down? Where did it happen? What do you consider your first date?
I consider it as what they filmed it too, and then they didn't fucking air it. God, everyone in the fucking Bravo universe wanted to watch me and Paige's first date. They filmed it. It could not be cuter, and all they used it for was our makeout in the elevator. And I was like, you guys I just don't. Obviously, I would do things differently, but that was our first technically date. And I remember I got there earlier than her, or they were holding her somewhere. and it was a nice place. So like, I wasn't just going to chug a Bud Light, but like 2 minutes goes by and I like grabbed one of the servers and I was like, hey, can you run me over like a Bud Light real quick? Did. And I'm just like chugging it as she walks in. And I was like, all right, someone needs to get this can off the table. And like, I'll order a martini now. Or like, be fancy. And then we, after we became exclusive and I surprised her at Summer House, Andy Cohen, and he was like, so are you boyfriend, girlfriend? And we were still on camera and I didn't want to give him that. Like, I just I wouldn't say the first time that she was my girlfriend on camera because that just kind of steals the intimacy. So my brother had an end of the summer party in Delaware and she jumped in the pool with me and it was like freezing cold. And I just told her she was my girlfriend. And she, it was in a cute way. And then the next day she was like, do you remember what you said? And I was like, of course, you're my girlfriend. And she's like, well, are you going to ask me? And I was like, I don't know what happened with it. I just basically told her, it was cute, but,
hey, has Bravo ever put out like bonus footage? Like I'm even just on social media. I honestly don't know the answer. And I think that would be a cute bonus thing to put out for the world. I just don't know if they do that or not.
Yeah. I mean, I wish they would. There's so much. I mean, shit, with Winter House and Summer House, those 24-hour surveillance shows, there's so much extra footage, which I will say, anyone listening, of course, I'm happy that not all of it is aired, but there's some funny, like cute stuff that I think they can make a couple bonus episodes with. Southern Charm's done it a couple times, but...
So where are you right now considering moving to New York City full time? Like, how is this long distance relationship going? Like, is she gonna move down? Are you gonna move up? Like, where does it stand for you guys right now?
Fortunately, like we don't have to make that decision because travel's just, we have such flexible schedules. So I do like half the week in Charleston, half the week in New York. To be honest, and she'd tell you this the same way. I don't think either of us wants to raise. It's not like raising kids in the city isn't for us. I know it's for some people. I think Charleston's probably like when we get to the point where we're going to have children, like that's where, I think we both see that happening in Charleston. She's helping with the build out of my house. Like we're putting a pool in. She's definitely she just told me she wants to put wallpaper up in some of the bathrooms. And I was like, oh, you really are taking over. I was like, wallpaper's back. We have a deal. Anything.
Do you have decorative pillows all over your bed?
When it's just me here, not the guest bed. Yes, the guest bedroom does. When it's just me, I don't have as many. Fortunately, Paige loves Charleston. She really is getting used to it. It's different. It's very different than New York City. But here's the thing. I don't think we'll ever not have an apartment in New York. And that's just, I know not everyone's that fortunate, but that's just the answer. Like we both love being in the city, but and we'd love to take our kids up there, but I think, I don't know. I think she'd say the same thing, but I don't want to speak for her, but Charleston's my home base.
Is it tough to be in such a public relationship where because there is a spotlight, because everyone knows you're together, you get bombarded with questions like, when are you guys going to get married? Or it just comes with the territory. I'm just curious because I've never been in a public relationship where everyone knows my business all the time. So I got to imagine you guys are constantly getting hit up with marriage questions.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they ask all the time. And what people don't even realize, what I tell people in the store a lot is, guys, we haven't even been dating for a year yet. We're coming up on it in September, and then I have to be nice about it because I don't know when everyone else got engaged. But I was like, we're both under the impression that you should date for at least a year, at least personally, before you get engaged. And that kind of slows people down because they're all like, okay, well, they've been together. Now the next thing's engagement. Now the next thing's marriage. And it's like, guys, yeah, we love each other and we're happy right now. But there's a few steps that we have to do, before we move on to those other public details. But dating someone else in the business is the most fun, fortunate thing. And I tell her that a lot. I'm like, I'm so happy we do the same thing because it's nearly impossible to date someone outside. I found it nearly impossible because it's just so different than other lives, I guess.
Yeah. So when are you getting engaged?
You're right. I will say that I thought it was going to be sooner. Well, Paige is funny about it. Paige will make jokes and be like, I was just at this like event. You know how embarrassing it is that I don't have a ring? Like she's funny about it. And then I was like, so maybe it's speeding up. And then she was like, no, Craig, like I like, we have some time, we want to make sure it's right and do things the right way. And she's kind of like, well, she's very funny, but she kind of had me going at one point, and then she's like, no, dummy, I'm just joking. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, to change things up just a little bit, when you had your Adderall issue, how are you able to get hard on it? Because that's a factor.
I was like, which direction are we going? I mean, it's not, it really hinders a lot of parts of your life.
Yeah, dude. No one tells you that stuff. That's like, because it's meant for, I don't know. That's just,
there's a weird puzzle that goes into it. Like, that's anyone that takes too much Adderall would know what I'm talking about. I'm just glad I mean, I've been clean for 3 years now. And,
well, how did you get clean though? That's my, did you just stop or?
Yeah. So, when I was I moved to the Bahamas and we were spearfishing, and I was on like shark patrol because I wasn't like, and I was like, what the hell is that? And I was like, well, if a shark comes, you got to warn everyone in the water. And so for some reason, I didn't realize we'd be swimming with sharks. I was naive. So a shark came up and I tried to go underwater to warn my buddy. And my heart was beating too fast for me to hold my breath, because out of routine, I just woke up, took an Adderall, and went to the boat like an idiot. I didn't need Adderall. I just took it. And so after that moment, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, what is it really worth, like, not being able to dive and enjoy yourself for Adderall? So in the Bahamas, I just stopped taking it. But then I relapsed real hard when I came back to film. I don't know, whatever season that was, because I wasn't used to filming without Adderall. Adderall it made it easier at the time. And 2 weeks later, I was like, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. And I threw it away and just never filled it again. And that
Good
was
for you, man.
Yeah. And you dive into this pretty hard in your book, right? Like, you get into the Adderall issues. What else are you talking about in the book? I'm curious. I haven't got, I don't know too much about it. Unfortunately, I don't have a
the one
copy,
thing I took away from the book. Yeah, the one thing I actually want to talk about the book is I loved it. I thought it was great. And one thing you mentioned in the book after season 2, you mentioned that, you were broke. Like, you still had to like ask your parents for help. I thought that was pretty interesting. Where were you spending your money from, like, that you're making from the TV show? Like, what were you doing with, the money's not too bad, but it's not insane. But where was the money going?
Just being fake rich, just living way beyond my means. I'm a pretty like generous person. So I was paying everyone's like I was buying everyone's shots and like, getting a table and just stupid shit, like the lessons you learn later in life. But I was getting, that minuscule amount of fame that I guess secretly always like wanted and didn't really realize that. Yeah, I mean, that was it. I was just spending money as I made it. If a check came in, I was spending it. And so that's why when I moved home, so yeah, basically alcohol and clothes and stupid stuff. And
I get it.
When I moved home, I was just able to reset. But yeah, I mean, you have to make it till your third season. Once you hit third season on a show, that's usually the rainmaking season, and that's the goal. But until then, like you can't be spending your money like I was.
And what was the goal with Pillow Talk in regards to writing a book? Like, what did you want the public to learn about you? What did you want to educate people? Like, what was the goal?
So I was very flattered when I was approached about writing a memoir. I was like, I just haven't lived long enough. I was like, I don't have the stories to do that. And then they were like, well, just talk to someone. So I started to talk to a writer, and they were like, Craig, you have way more stories than you think. Like, that Adderall one was a big one. And they were like, we want to move you with a writer that, that you mesh with a little better. And I found Blake Dvorak, and he got me. He has a similar story as mine, and he just like some parts of his life, and he just understood me so well. And so I just said, fuck it. Like, I'm going to be completely honest in this book, because what has happened since I announced that I had an Adderall problem on that reunion, a lot of famous people and a lot of people that you would never expect have reached out and just been like, hey man, I have never thought about this before, but Adderall affects my marriage. It affects my relationship with my kids. And I have no one to talk to about it because it's not talked about. When we heard you say it on TV, it like triggered something in me. And I was like, look, if I can help it, like, it's not a self-help book and it's not about Adderall, but I talk about depression. I talk about Adderall. I talk about like the light at the end of the tunnel and how tomorrow is the next day of the rest of your life, because I would really get stuck being like, how the fuck am I not further along now? And that you shouldn't feel guilty about living, focusing on a side hustle or doing what everyone else doesn't do. So many people want you to be miserable like them. And so I just started to talk, and I would drive around for an hour at a time in my Jeep and just talk on speakerphone to my writer. And he did an incredible job. And, hopefully it's an easy read. It's kind of a comfy, feel good book, but there's definitely some dark moments to it. And also, no one talks about that breakup that everyone goes through in their 20s. Like, everyone has that big breakup, that they think they're going to get married. They think they figured it out, and you break up. And a lot of people, that fucks with a lot of people. So,
man, Craig,
yeah.
We could keep you on all damn day. You have been awesome. I know we got to let you go. You've been a fantastic interview. I love your candor. I love just your honesty about life and reality and being famous in Charleston. It was a really fun talk, and I wish you so much luck, obviously, with your lines in Home Goods. And if anyone wants to check out his book, head on over. I know it's on Amazon, Pillow Talk. And if you're ever in Charleston, head on over to his shop, Sewing Down South. Honestly, dude, I really, really enjoyed our conversation today. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, me too. This was one of my favorite. I was thinking that. I was like, I hope people listen to this. I'm going to share it. And it was a great conversation. And hopefully I see, you all in New York. I'll be up there on Thursday for a couple more days. And we've got a really fun project in West Village happening. And yeah, there's some cool stuff coming. He's
got a great voice, doesn't he? I wish I had that tone of voice.
Great voice, great hair. God damn it.
Yeah, he's just got a cool voice. It's like, that's a cool guy's voice, not my voice. It just sounds like I got the.
What's funny to think about is like, see, we're sitting here saying, great voice, but he listens back to the podcast and goes, it sounds like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I hear my voice, I hate it. And it seems like everyone's the same way. But no, great interview. Really liked him. Southern Charm is such a freaking huge show. Bravo,
it's great.
Just crushes. Especially whenever we have a Bravo celebrity on, it does really, really well. People are fascinated with all the stars on Bravo.
Yeah. And we're gonna probably be at BravoCon, so make sure you check that. But thank you, Craig. I'm just a fan of Winter House, Summer House, and Southern Charm. Like, here's the thing: I like Summer House more than Southern Charm. However, I do enjoy Southern Charm because Charleston, where they film, it's just beautiful. It's nice, and their lives look so great. It's so cool. But he's just a good guy. Like, he's just I don't know. For me, I think he's a very likable person. I get why he's on TV.
I did cringe when you asked him about getting hard because his reps were listening in to the episode. I was like, oh God, Adam.
Dax,
oh God.
I only ask the questions that fans want to know. I ask the questions the fans want to know. So it's all good. But thank you guys for listening.
Them to break in and be like, and interview's done.
I know. But thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys leave a review, 5-star only. Say a few kind words. If you do that, we'll actually read your review live on air. Is that right, Dax?
That is absolutely right. We'll read your review live on air. But we also, follow us on social media. We got a lot going on. We got a TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the different social media platforms you can find us. We're putting up little behind-the-scenes videos on our private Facebook page called Off the Record. So if you find Hollywood Raw, then you can find the private Facebook section of it. Off the Record, we're posting like fun videos. I mean, I posted one of Shaq the other day that no one else is seeing. And we answer your guys' questions. Anything you want to know, you hit us up there. We'll answer it directly. Again, follow Adam at Adam Glyn. You can follow me at Dax Holt. Follow the podcast at Hollywood Raw. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
See ya.
What's up, guys? If you like that video, there's plenty more where that came from.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell so we can just feed you all the goodness daily.
Hurry up. Come on, let's go.